Yeah, and today we are going to discuss about exceptions and collections.
Okay.
So, first of all, uh, so we get a lot of errors in our program. So, there are some two types of these errors. Okay, so one error is compile time error, and other one is runtime errors. Okay, till now
Yes.
whatever errors we have seen are compile time errors like missing semicolon or else variable which is not being initialized. So such kind of things. Those are all compile time errors, and this will be checked by the compiler itself. Unless or until you
Okay.
modify the content, you cannot execute the program over there. Well, there are some logical mistakes where like you divide variable by zero or an integer by zero. So in Java that is considered as an exception actually.
Okay.
Okay, because infinity is not considered as a measurement in Java. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
we get an error. Such kind of so many logical mistakes are there in Java. So which a programmer can perform while programming without knowing it to himself. So such kind of things are said to be exceptions, and it's the programmer's duty to check these exceptions and handle these exceptions.
Okay.
Okay, that is what exceptions is, and how does an exception does and everything. See, in C language, if an exception has raised, then the command prompt used to get stuck, or else sometimes you need to restart your system. So many languages were like that, but Java has a very flexible exception handling mechanism. So this exception handling allows us to do n number of mistakes. Even we do also, we need not terminate the program. It automatically terminates the program, and there is no harm to our computer also regarding this.
Okay.
Because if we restart our system 10 times in a day, then what will happen? There is a chance of motherboard failure, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why exception handling allows that one. Java's exception handling is considered as the best exception handling mechanism in the market.
Okay.
And what exactly happens when exception rises behind? So the JVM creates an object of the exception class. See, if there are a lot of exceptions, for example, the exception which I have mentioned you, number by zero. So that is said to be number format exception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for example, we have some exceptions like interrupted exception. We have a lot of exceptions. So every exception has its own properties in Java because every exception is given a class name. For example, now
Okay.
interrupted exception, it is a class. It has some methods inside that one. So we can use those methods and control the exception. Okay, so JVM creates the object of that exception class to describe the exception type. So what is the exception, and what is the message given to that exception, description given to that exception, where this exception has been raised, I mean location, like which line it has raised, in which file it has raised, in which class it has raised, in which method it has raised. All these things will
Okay.
be inside that exception object actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, after that it throws that object out of the block in which exception has been raised. For example, line 4 has caused an exception, so the JVM will throw from line 4 the exception object outside that particular block. For example, you have your main method, the exception has been raised in the main
Yeah.
method's fourth line, so it will throw this object out of the main method. Okay, if the programmer doesn't handle the exception, see, it's your responsibility to handle the exception. If you did not handle the exception, the Java runtime environment provides the default handler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this default handler contains the whatever message I have given till now, like line number, method name, class name, file name, and exception description, exception name. All these things will be there in that default handler. If you don't handle,
Okay.
what will happen, that description will be displayed to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, and then the fourth step is Java runtime environment stops the program execution. So you need not worry about the program handling, it will handle it. So actually
Okay.
all this information in the exception object, I told you, right, some information will be there. So this complete information will be stored in a stream called stack trace. That is a stream actually.
Okay.
Okay, it's not some file or anything, it's a stream. So in which all the exception description will be there, like the exception occurred in a program. It contains source file name, class name, method name, where it has been raised, and also shows the exception type and the reason for the exception to be raised. All these things will be stored inside the
Okay.
stack trace, and we can explicitly call this information also, like exception object dot print stack trace. That is a method we have, using which we can we can get this information also.
Okay.
So let us see some kind of programming here. So this is our Eclipse. I'm creating a project here, new Java project, and I'll name it like exceptions. Okay, finish. New some class test public static void main which. So this is your main method, and you have your test class here. So for example, if I try to print 10 by 0, 10 by 2 means what will I get? I'll get 5 obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I keep 0 here, control F11. See, exception in thread main, Java dot what is the exception that has been raised? Java dot line dot arithmetic exception has been raised, and the description is divided by 0. Yet test is the class name, main is the method name, and line number is 5.
Yeah.
So this is the default handler. Now default handler has run, and this is what we get when the default handler runs. Okay, now it is
Okay.
your responsibility to handle this one. So how to handle this one? We have to surround this one with a block called try catch block.
Oh yeah. Okay.
See, we have some Eclipse options to do that. Right click on the line which you want to keep inside the, I mean, you just select the statements which you want to keep inside the try catch block, and then right click, and we have here surround with one option called surround with. There you can find try catch blocks here.
Okay.
Yes, just select
Yeah.
this one. So, and did I say about the mentioned about the name print stack trace before?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the method which gets the information from the stack trace string and displays us. Okay, see, before I got
Oh
this one, right? This is the message I got before when I run without the try catch block.
yes.
Now if I run, see, I get similar kind of thing. Print stack trace also contains the similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right, actually there is no meaning if I do print stack trace here. Generally, people
Mm-hmm.
use this print stack trace while coding just to know what exception is first raising. After that, they'll go for like uh, system.out.println, like some denominator shouldn't be 0. That's it. Control F1. See now, it doesn't kind of raise like an exception. It just gives a message to the user not to pass the 0.
Yeah.
If for example a common man goes to an ATM and tries to draw more amount than whatever he has in his account, so then will he get an exception or a message that your account does not support this much amount, such kind of messages?
Yeah.
So that is the reason we need to handle the exception. So user should be able to understand. If not, he'll get like array index auto bounds array index auto bounds exception and some 4 to 5 lines of exception messages and everything. No normal person will understand that, right? So that's why we should be handling this one.
Okay.
Okay. So see here, if I have, I'm just showing you here. See, hello in try block. We'll just see what messages are being printed, what messages are not being printed. Hello after exception in catch block. This one will obviously execute. And after catch block, I'm going to write one more system.out.println, something like bye bye. Okay. See, if I run this one, What I'm getting? Hello in try block, hello in catch block. See, once exception has been raised, the statements after that will not execute inside the
Okay.
try block.
Okay.
Okay, inside the try block they will not execute, and catch block all the statements will get executed, and bye bye will get executed.
Okay.
Okay. See, if I comment these things like try block and catch statement and this one also, I'm just commenting this thing. Now these three things are not programs.
Yeah.
Okay, my statements are only these six statements, println statements. Without the try catch block, if I run this program, hello in try
Okay.
block and then exception, nothing more than that.
Okay.
Okay, after this, no statement will get executed at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I keep the try block,
So you only use try and catch
yeah,
when when you suspect that there might be an error or there will be an error.
yeah. For example,
Okay.
you are going to use some file system, or you are going to use some databases, or you are going to connect to internet and get data from web services. Yeah, and at such a scenarios, you definitely have to check whether internet connection is there or not, database is available or not, file is available or not, right?
Okay.
If file is not available means you need to give a message that file is not available, please restore the file in the location, like that.
Yeah.
At that particular scenarios, we will be having we have to use this try catch block.
Okay.
Okay, and there is one more thing to this try catch. This try catch is actually not complete here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is something called finally, which is used for executing statements like the statements which definitely have to be executed. For example, you opened a database in your try block.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe an exception rises or maybe not, but
Yes.
still it's your responsibility to close the database, right?
Yeah.
You opened a file, again you have to close the file. You opened an internet connection, you have to close that stream again.
Yeah.
If not, unnecessary wastage of the resources will be happening. So such kind of things have to be pasted inside the finally block. Finally.
Okay.
Okay. So inside this system.out.println, definitely executing statements. Okay. Exception raises or exception does not raise also, this statement will get executed.
And what is the statement saying?
Yes, pardon me.
What is this statement saying? The finally thing.
Yeah, it is saying that there are some statements which definitely have to be executed even the exception has been raised or not.
Okay, so in our example, so you're telling the system that close the internet connection or close the file.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here you will be closing, you will all use all connection.close, database.close, file.close, close internet connection, all those things.
Okay.
Whatever might be the case, the finally block will execute.
Okay.
Okay, this is what the try catch block is. Okay, clear?
Okay. Yep.
Now, if we don't have this catch block also, there is no problem. See, uh, finally, so see, even exception has been raised, so we'll get this definitely executing statements will get executed. Actually, some Eclipse problem is that that's why this is coming before here in exception in thread main after.
Okay.
Okay, even just an exception has been raised. You did not see if you write catch block, then only you are handling that one.
Yes.
If not, it is not handling. The normal exception will raise actually. Even when the normal exception raised also, these statements will get executed.
Oh, the finally statement. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
final statement. Whatever might be the
Okay.
case, finally will be always executing.
Okay.
Okay, so actually we know that system will be terminate system our runtime environment will terminate the program execution at this line, right? But still,
Yes.
the after it will check for the finally block. and executes the finally block, and then only it is going to stop the execution of the program.
Okay, so it just checks if there's any statement called finally before it exits, and
Yeah,
then it exits. Okay.
then it executes. So that is what the try catch finally block is. So and this catch block will have catch block will always have the exception object here. Okay,
Okay, catch except.
on this exception object, see if you don't know exactly what is the message and such kind of things, you can also write like exception object name is e, right?
Yeah.
E dot get message. Okay, we can just get the message from the exception divided by 0. After that you can see you exactly don't know what error might raise. So once error has been raised, after that you will write a message instead of this e dot get message, hello in catch block, like
So
denominator should
so
not be.
now, okay, when you use the e dot message
Yeah,
in message, what it's where it's taking data from?
it is taken from the exception raised. When here an exception is
Oh,
raised, right? So
from the
java.lang dot arithmetic exception.
okay, from the print stack, right? From
Yeah,
the error log, we
yeah, error
other
log.
words.
This actually the exception raised by the
Okay.
compiler will be stored inside this exception object here, whatever you declared.
Okay.
Java's runtime environment, so the JVM will raise an exception, right? That exception will be here. It will be stored in this.
Okay. So our what is this? Start range is the permanent location, and this is we're referencing the exception E just
Yeah,
to handle it. Okay.
yeah,
So default this.
yeah.
Okay.
So that is what our exceptions and everything is. And here, see, there are some rules actually. Try block must be followed by either catch or finally or both, and then this we have seen. And then when writing multiple catches, see, there is some condition where you exactly don't know how many type exceptions will raise, and there might be a chance of multiple exceptions raising.
Okay.
So at that particular point of time, you have to see. For example, see this. Just take this case only. Here, which exception is being raised? E dot print stack trace. Control F11. So arithmetic exception is being raised, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll write this one as this class should be arithmetic exception.
Mhm.
Okay. So for example, I exactly don't know whether there might be a chance of raising another exception on it.
Yeah.
Okay. At that point of time, you need to write one more catch block exception e dot print status. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me explain you with the better one here. So I have arithmetic exception. Interrupted exception. See, here I am getting unreachable code, right?
Mhm.
Unreachable catch block for interrupted by exception. It is already being handled by the catch block for exception.
Okay.
Okay, what happens is arithmetic exception, interrupted exception. This come under a small hierarchy.
Okay.
Okay, so the exception class is above these two things.
Mhm.
So now exception has the capability to handle the interrupted exception also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then if exception is only handling, this code will never be reached. That's why I'm getting this error. Unreachable code block, catch block for interrupted exception. So then we have to keep this catch block just before the catch, which is present for exception. That's it. Even arithmetic exception is above interrupted exception. I'll keep this before this.
And do you really have to give the in the catch like interrupt exception arithmetic, or you can give any random variable?
No, you have to have that particular exception exactly.
Mhm.
Because see, if
What?
two exceptions are being raised, one is arithmetic exception, one is some error index out of bounds exception, like that. So arithmetic exception needs its own message, and error index out of bounds exception needs its own message.
Yes.
If not, every time if I have only catch block with only exception object, then what will happen is, so every time any exception has been raised, that only will execute.
Okay, so that means when you write a script, like you have a clue or you have an idea like what kind of exception would occur and when it would occur.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, I'll say this in the database perspective. For example, you connected to the database. There are two
Yeah.
types of exceptions that might raise. One is database does not exist. Second one is table does not exist. Third one is there
Yeah.
might be an error in your SQL syntax.
Yeah.
So if I write only exception and write that database does not exist, even though there is an error, even though there is database exists and the person has written error in their SQL syntax, then also he get that database is not does not exist only.
Okay.
So and he goes and checks for the database, and he finds the database, and he'll think, I have declared what is the problem. At that scenarios, we need multiple catch blocks to be declared.
Okay.
Okay, so that is what the multiple catch blocks is for. And I can write like system.out.println arithmetic. And
What if what if you have two arithmetic exceptions possibility?
yeah, inside two arithmetic exceptions, we have some inside arithmetic exception is a superclass. Under arithmetic exception also, we have multiple classes.
Okay, again you differentiate. Okay.
Yeah, again I'll
Mhm.
instead of arithmetic exception, I'll take those two exceptions, two
Okay.
catch blocks for those two exceptions. Now
Mhm.
it's like,
Okay.
instead of exception, I'm writing before two exceptions, right?
Mhm.
The same thing will happen. I'll write arithmetic exception before arithmetic exception. I'll take two exceptions which are below arithmetic exception class.
Okay.
See,
So that means there
yeah.
wouldn't be any like duplicate exception like
No, no, there
in
is
one
there,
equation.
that will be never.
Okay.
So here we have,
So we can handle whatever exception wherever without any issues.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is the exception hierarchy, and under these exceptions we have a lot of more exceptions also.
Okay. More in depth. Okay.
Yeah,
But whatever the exception type, but the syntax or format logic is the same, right?
yeah, definitely. Every exception will have same kind of messages and same kind of methods inside them. The messages inside them only differs,
Okay.
and that is the order of this thing catch blocks that should be followed based on the hierarchy of the exceptions.
Okay.
See, the superclass of all exceptions is throwable class. Under that, we have two kinds. One is exception and one is error.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have just seen that here. See, exception and error. Can you see the
Okay.
browser?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exception error. Yes.
yeah. So these exceptions are the all these exceptions should be handled by the all these exceptions should be handled by the user, whereas
Okay.
the errors cannot be handled by the user. The errors are like they are being caused by the JVM, Java Virtual Machine.
Okay.
and itself Java virtual machine itself handles those exceptions. User cannot handle these errors.
Okay.
Like suddenly whenever you are programming, you just try to close this close window, or else you go to your task manager and then exit the Java binary here, end task, click on the end task, and you will find a small window saying that some exception has raised and everything. That cannot be handled by the user. Java itself handles the user. You just try it out when you are practicing, because if I close this one now, again I have to open it, takes a long time.
Okay.
So that is the hierarchy here, and yeah, and we have two more keywords here. One is called throw and one is called throws. Okay, so
Okay.
throw keyword is used to raise an exception. See, the four
Mhm.
steps of exceptions is, the first one is JVM creates the object for the exception class. Second step is it throws that object out of the block, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to throw the to throw the exception, so we need to use the throw class.
Okay.
Okay. Throw keyword, actually it's a keyword. So just
Mhm.
carefully observe here. I'm going to write here throw, and we need to throw an exception of the object, right? New array index out of bounds exception. Okay. See, if I run this one, array index out of bounds exception is being executed. Means I am not writing the statement which is causing an exception, but I am raising an exception on my own.
Oh, you're throwing this. Okay.
Yeah. Again, if I instead of the array index out of bounds exception, if I use arithmetic exception, arithmetic exception. So that particular exception object is being created and being thrown out of this try block. As we have the handler here catch block, so it is executing this statement.
Okay.
Okay. If I don't have all these things and I write
So if
throw,
you throw something, then you directly it goes to the catch section.
yeah, catch section, or it raises exception actually.
Mhm.
Throw new arithmetic exception like this. See, see exception main understand the compilation. Oh, semicolon. See exception in main thread java.lang.arithmetic exception. As you don't have any message, it did not display any message regarding that. If you want
Okay.
to display message, like divided by 0. See, divided by 0.
Okay.
So this is what happens with the JVM inside. It is going to throw an exception like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then throws keyword is there. See, for example, now we have done everything in the main method only, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. For example, I have another class, another method here, like void display, something like this. Okay, so I have system.out.println 10 by 0. The same thing what we did. Okay,
Okay.
now I am going to do like text t equal to new text t dot display. Okay, so control
Okay.
F11, exception is being raised here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing what we did in the main method, but we took another method here. So but you have to handle this message. So where should we handle this message? There are two places. One thing, I can handle this message, this exception in the display method itself, or else I can tell the person who is calling this display method that I am going that I might be, the statements inside my body might raise an exception. Please handle it when you are using.
Okay.
Like the display method it can't handle, means it has to tell the calling method that I am going to raise an exception, that I might raise an exception. So you are going to tell that to the calling method like this. throws uh, arithmetic exception. Okay, now display throws arithmetic exception. So throws declaration just is used for telling the calling method that an exception might be raised in my application. I mean my method body. So please handle this when you are using my method, when you are calling the method. Now I have to keep this display inside the try catch block, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. System dot out dot println get something like this. Concatenation. See exception divided by 0. Okay.
Okay.
So if we are handling it directly like before, if we surround this one with the try catch block, there is no problem when calling this one. But if we did not handle this one in the method which the statement is there, that method has to tell the calling method that it might throw an exception. That's it. Did I made you confused?
Yeah. Okay. Can you explain me once?
Pardon me.
Can you like explain me once again? Just this one.
Yeah, sure.
Rows concept.
So I'll raise an exception directly, then you will understand easily. Okay. Throw new interrupted exception. Okay. So if I do like this, what it will tell me? So it will definitely tell me unhandled exception type interrupted exception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Add a throws declaration or surround it with a try catch block. There are two options as I said before. One thing, we can handle it itself here using the surround try catch block here in this one, or else the other one is using the throws declaration. Okay. Now this throws declaration, what it will do? It will tell my method which is going to call this method. See, main method is going to call display method, right?
Yeah.
So t dot display, right? So it is going to tell that uh, we are going to tell him that the main method that my body is going to contain, is going to raise an exception, interrupted exception. Please handle it when you are using my method. Okay. So now we will handle this
Okay.
exception here in the main method. So we'll print some message here. That's it. Java.interpret exception that has been raised here. So this is how you are going to tell the method which is going to call us.
Okay.
Okay, this one comes with the people in the higher hierarchy in the software industry. So they want to give the flexibility for the people who is going to call this message, what kind of message they want to print in different kind of scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those are all the keywords that are present inside my exception class.
Okay.
Another keyword. See, these are some different kinds of exceptions I have listed out. Okay. And here user defined exceptions. See, for example, you want to raise an exception which is based on your own.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, then what should we do? See, first thing is we have to perform all the four options that JVM is going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's your own exception, means we are as we have exception class, array index, out of bounds exception class, like that. You need to define a new
Yes.
exception class called some my exception. This is your exception class. So your class will be an exception when it extends exception. Okay, now your my exception is an exception class. Then you definitely need to have some methods inside that, like the exception classes, right?
Yes.
Right click, source, override and implement methods. So we have some methods, we'll use them. So first of all, we need to add some constructor for this one. Exception, source, generate constructors. Okay. Generate constructors from superclass. So here we need accept the constructors called exception with a string and exception without any object. Okay,
Okay.
yes, two.
Okay.
And these two constructors will come. And then we have source again. We have some methods which we need to implement in this. So like get message uh, and toString. Okay, get message and toString. Because if I see if I want to print the if I don't want to just show the error as some exception and I just want to print it like a message, you can also write system.out.println and inside that one you can place exception object also. Then what should happen also we have to write here, right?
Yes.
That's why toString method is also being taken here.
Okay.
And string some message I'm going to take. Okay, because user is going to send me a message with the exception. Throw new my exception of your current your account does not have minimum balance to withdraw or something like that. So that message will be stored in this one. How to store that one? In the constructor we have to store, right? This dot message equal to message. Okay, this dot message
Okay.
equal to message. So whenever user raises that I throw new my exception of some message, that message will come here and it will be stored inside this variable, instance variable. Okay, so now when user says get message, what should it do? It should return message. It should return the statement that is present inside this message. When he
Yes.
tries to print also the same thing, message. Okay, now your my exception class contains a message variable and your my exception constructor. Even you don't write this one also, no problem at all. And my exception new string message and this message equal to message get message. So we will be returning the message which I have here. In the toString method also we will be returning the message which I have here. Okay.
Okay. So we are defining and we are displaying that message, exception
Yes.
message.
Yeah.
Okay. And the syntax for this is you got like default right click or you wrote the whole thing.
I have got it from the right click only. You can write
Okay.
also, no problem, because all these methods are overriding only. We
Hmm.
already have
Okay.
some except methods inside the exception class, so we need to override those messages with our custom code inside them.
Yeah, it's like we have enhanced them. Okay.
Yeah, we have it. So now in the test.java, so it's
Mhm.
like I have some double um, amount in my bank equal to some 50,000 0 0 double withdrawal equal to, I'll keep some 40,000 here 0 0. Okay, so I'll write a message. I'll write a method called public void withdraw, and I'll pass this withdrawal amount. Some just some normal variable here, and then what should happen here? If of sorry amount equal to amount minus or else balance amount. We'll take another double variable. Double
Okay.
balance amount equal to amount minus withdrawal amount. Amount minus withdrawal amount. If of balance amount is less than 10,000. Okay, I need to throw the exception.
Mm-hmm.
Throw new my exception with some message inside that. Minimum balance, no minimum balance, you cannot no, you cannot withdraw.
Okay.
Okay, else amount equal to balance. Okay, I'm going to call the withdraw method from here. Test t equal to new test, okay, t dot withdraw of withdrawal amount. So the withdrawal amount will be this. So t dot withdraw of t dot withdrawal amount. So I'm calling the withdraw method and passing this 40,000 to that one. And when 40,000 is passed to this, balance amount will become 50,000 minus 40,000, so 10,000. So if it is not less than 10,000, so amount will be deducted. Amount will be deducted and system dot out dot println remaining amount in your account is plus
Mm.
amount. Okay, actually, so I have replaced the amount, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I'll keep this one here. Then it will be a little bit appropriate. Okay, even the exception is raised also. I need to get my total amount, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now if you see here, this throw is telling that it is going to raise an exception. You have to handle that, right? So I'll write
Yes.
the throws declaration here, and I'll handle over the here surrounding the criteria.
Mm.
System.out.println e dot get message. Okay. So I just run this one. So remaining amount in your balance is 10,000. So I did not get any exception here, so I got my 10,000 here. If I increase this one to one more thousand, then exception will rise, right?
Yes.
So, so no minimum balance you cannot withdraw. Remaining amount in your balance is 50,000 only. So before I have changed this system not order println statement from here to here, right? If I keep this one here, what will happen? They definitely will deduct even though withdrawal amount is minimum once. That's why I kept it outside that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just explain it once again here. So first of all, to raise a custom exception, we need to create a your own class, your own exception class, and you have to extend the exception class, and you have to declare a message so that whatever user gets this message, so that this can be initialized and passed to the super class, and it can be printed when toString and everything. That is the reason we create a message here. And then you take the constructors from the superclass, and you initialize the message with the message what user will send you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then we are going in the get message, we have some two methods called get message and toString. We are going to override those two. So when we are going to return this message variable what we have, that's it. And then in my test class in which I'm going to have going to withdraw some amount from that, so I'm going to take double amount equal to 50,000, withdrawal amount equal to some 41,000. If the my scenario is, if I want to, if I'm going to withdraw and the remaining balance is less than 10,000, an exception has to be raised. That is what exactly the requirement is. So, and we have a withdraw method in which we have passed this withdrawal amount, and double amount equal to, so we have this balance amount. If the balance amount is less than, we are going to raise an exception. If not, we are going to deduct the balance amount from amount. Okay. So
Okay.
and then if the exception raises means we have to handle the exception, right? So I have handled this exception here by using e.getMessage here. Okay, and system.out.println, we have printed the remaining amount in your amount is t.amount.
Okay.
So in whatever way you change the value here, you will get the things what this like this only. You try to deduct more than 41,000 here. Okay, so
Mhm.
no minimum balance you cannot withdraw. Got it?
Yeah. So the, I mean in ATM machines they use this like same similar Java code.
There might be if the ATM machine the vendor asks for Java programmings, they'll use in this scenario. If they are using any
Okay.
object-oriented programming, they will go with this kind of scenario only.
Okay. Same logic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is how we are going to do the things. So this is what exceptions is.
Okay.
I hope you got a clear idea of exceptions now.
Yeah, I'll practice after this class.
Yeah, because we definitely will be using these exceptions a lot. Because in Android there comes a lot of exceptions like internet is not available, SD card files are not available, contacts are not available, your content provider is not available. A lot of exceptions will rise over there. All those things have to
Okay.
be executed done, and sometimes rendering problems also will come. For example,
Mm.
you have
Okay.
installed your phone like so many background processes are running in your phone. Okay,
Yes.
then you will get message like your phone is not respond. I mean your application is taking too long to respond. So please, do you want to force close? It is going to ask us with a beautiful dialog box.
Okay.
That comes only when we handle that.
Mm-hmm.
If not, it will force close automatically. It will not ask us.
Okay.
So after 2.3 like version from tablets, so they have replaced that. Even though you don't handle that one also, they have automatically handled that in the Android phone.
Oh, with the exceptions?
Not like force close one. I'm saying
Oh, force
if your
close ones.
application is
Okay.
taking too long time to respond, at that kind of time, it is going to take like this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is what exceptions is.
Okay. So basically there are system defined and user defined
Yeah.
types.
Yes.
Okay. And the keywords we have for try, catch, and finally, and we also have throw and throws.
Yeah. Throw and throws.
Okay.
So the next topic we are going to discuss is collections. Multi-threading takes more time. That's why I'll take that class tomorrow.
Okay.
So can you see the presentation?
Yeah. Thread life cycle.
Yeah. So actually today is first in India here. So we got our internet connection reset. Okay. So collections. Collections is a framework actually. Framework is kind of so much code we already given to us so that the user need not handle everything by himself.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, you are going to you have an array. Consider
Mm-hmm.
integer variable. So integer variables, we have some 20 to 30 integer variables inside a single variable.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to put a variable inside, so you need to move all the positions of the, see for example you have 10 positions, you want to add a variable in the fourth position, you have to
Okay.
shift all the variables by yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so and then it happens like that. So and also
Mhm.
that is for insertion. You want to delete something, you cannot delete actually, you can replace the value with a 0 or anything. If you want to delete means you have to shift the positions from 5th to 4th, 6th to 5th, and 7th to 6th, like that again. So a lot of code
Okay.
is needed to do that one. And again, if you want to manipulate, like for example you want to sort the things, definitely you need to follow sorting mechanisms, bubble sort or quick sort or any other sorting mechanisms.
Okay.
So here we need not do anything like that. Okay, for every operation they have given a message, some method for us, so using which we can control the things automatically. If you want to sort, you have collections dot sort of the data structure in which data is, and it will sort automatically and print the values.
Okay.
So that is what collections is. So it provides an architecture to store and manipulate group of objects here. We are not going with the primitive data types here. Okay, we are controlling the objects.
Okay.
Okay, all the operations that we perform on data such as searching, sorting, insertion, deletion, etc. can be performed by Java's collection framework. So simply a collection is a single unit of objects. Okay, so it provides many interfaces and many classes. So interfaces will definitely not use because all these interfaces are being implemented by these classes inside.
Okay.
So we'll use these classes and perform whatever is my requirement. Based on that one, I'll use the whatever class I need. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of interfaces and lot of classes in this. So we'll just see what are the different types of classes available, and these also maintain a hierarchy of collections. Collections also have a hierarchy here. So see this one, we have here iterable, and then that is being extended by collection class, which is further extended by list, queue, and set. Sorry, these are all interfaces. Okay, black color comes with interface, and these are extends. Okay, an interface can extend another interface, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If a class want to use an interface, it has to implement that, right?
Yes.
So we have DQ interface, we have sorted set. So these are the all the interfaces we have. Five, six, seven interfaces we have in the collections, and then the list is being implemented by array list, linked list, and vector classes. Okay, these get the properties from the list as well as they have their own some additional properties also. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and then we have stack which extends vector, and we have priority queue, we have array dq, we have hash set, we have linked hash set, We have tree set, and hash set is being further extended by hash map also.
Okay.
Okay. See, actually, if we discuss all these things, it will take around 5 to 6 classes for according to the whole collections. But what we
Okay.
use in the Android is Android's requirement. We'll be using array list and hash map.
Okay. Array list and the
Hash
hash.
map. Hash map. That is
Okay.
not in the diagram actually. I forgot to add. That will be extending hash set here.
Extends on hash. So it's kind of set.
Yeah.
One from set, one from list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So array list is like a single element. We'll just store the elements, we'll move the elements and everything. While in hash set, we are going to store key value pairs, because
Okay.
for example, most of the times we'll use array list only. But scenarios like we are going to store data into the database, scenarios like we are going to get the data from the web service. So in the database, we need to have column value and row value, right? Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes. Yes. I can hear you.
Yeah. So in the database we have
Yeah, I
two
can
set.
hear you.
Yeah. In database we'll be having tables, and each table contains rows and columns. For
Okay.
for every row, column names are same, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll be using column name as key value, and rows will be replaced. These values will be replaced. Key value pairs.
Hmm.
And then I'll discuss that one later with very brief explanation when we are doing in Android. And then we have this web services like JSON. The JSON data we get in the form of key value pairs. Again, we have to store that in the key value pairs. At those two scenarios, we'll be using hash map. And all the other scenarios
Okay.
where you need to manipulate some group of objects, you'll be using array list only. In the whole Android classes, we'll be discussing array list in around 70% of the topics, and hash map we'll be discussing around in 5% of the topics.
Okay.
So these are all some theory here. I'll just skip that one. You can just read it out. So what are the methods are there in each and everything. So I'll just go to programming here. Java project collections.
And what are the few examples of this
Pardon me. There was a break in your voice.
yeah, what are the few scenarios or examples in our daily life we use these collections?
For example, you are having voter registry. So some person will randomly enter the all the person's details in the Aadhaar card directory or voter directory.
Okay.
Okay, in the web application, there will be a scenario where you need to sort the data based on their area locality or their voter card number or series number or some different kinds of things.
Okay.
So
So the
then
sorting.
programmatically, we need to bring everything that is present in the database and control that and show the output in the web application, or else any Android application or any application.
Okay.
At that time, we need to write a hell lot of code if we don't have a collection.
Okay.
So there we'll be using this.
Hmm. Okay.
So I'm going to discuss about array list here. So new some class called test. Uh, so array list will be like this actually. Array list. It is present in Java.util class. So and we need to specify what kind of object you are going to store in that. Okay.
Okay.
So how many data
Yeah.
types we have in Java? 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these all these data types are primitive data types, and when we are going to pass these data types through a network stream or a file stream, they are vulnerable to the attacks again because they are not having object-oriented properties. They become primitive data. So that's why Java people have provided 8 classes based on these predefined data types.
Okay.
Okay, those are said to be wrapper classes.
Hmm.
Okay, so see here. generally we have int a equal to 10, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We do system.out.println a means I just get the value here, and then we have integer some b equal to new integer some 10, system.out.println b. So both are going to store the same thing, both are going to print the same thing, but the only difference is this one is an object and this one is a primitive data type. That's it.
Which one is object?
B is object.
Okay, it's object of integer.
It's an object of integer class.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and this one is primitive, normal primitive data type. See, you can directly assign this value like this: integer b equal to a.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is set to be auto boxing. So it will, when we write this statement, it will automatically convert the primitive data type into object type.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm saying this because we'll be using integers in array list. That's why.
Okay.
Okay, so yes. So array list some. So what type of objects you are going to store, you need to specify in that, in those angular braces. So I'm going to store integer data type here. Integer some list equal to new array list integer. Okay, this is the syntax for declaring an array list. Array list, and in the angular braces we need to specify what type of objects you are going to store in this array list, and then we will be creating an object for that. Okay, now this is the list in which we
Okay.
can add the objects and perform operations on the on this list. This is the data structure we are having now. So now first one, how to add the elements in this list dot add of some 10.
So here list is a variable, right? It's not a keyword.
It's an object. Yeah, it's a variable.
Okay. And array list is a keyword.
Array list is a class. Java.util.arraylist, it is a class,
Yeah.
and we are creating object for that one.
Okay.
You might be confused with this thing here. See, this is an array list object, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this has some additional property, like we need to specify what type of data we are storing. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. See, this is your list. Okay, that array list object we are having here. So how to get the data from that one? System.out.println list. That's it. So you get all the values from that: 10, 50, 30, 10 and 90. Okay,
Okay.
so here what happened is, the array list, the list what we are printing is an object, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just a second. Hello,
Yeah.
good morning, all the best in online class for me. Yeah, my sister is having an interview in Accenture today.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So when we try to print an object, what will happen? The toString method will be called, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the integer class, we have a toString method which is going to print these values. They had given the implementation like that. They are printing the in the array list class, we are having a toString method which is going to print all these objects here. Okay,
On the list. Okay. Yeah.
so this is one kind of printing the values from this. So sometimes there will be an it's not always good to print the values like this. right? So we need to print normally, considering it as a normal variable. So we can use a loop. You know loops, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We have for loop here. Uh, for see, what is the type of data we have stored inside this? Integer type, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So integer x colon, from where I'm going to take the values from the list.
Okay.
So colon list. So system.out.println x. Okay. So print the values. The values will be printed normally here. Like you have printed some 5 variables or like that.
And
Yeah.
integer x column list. What does that mean?
Yeah. See, actually, this is a new kind of loop. It is called for each loop actually. So what is the meaning of this is, so this for loop has been written to visit each and every element present in the list. Okay, it will point each and every element into the list, and the first time it is going to enter into this list here, the first time it is going to print here, x becomes x equal to list dot get of I mean 10 will come. Okay, x equal to
So
50.
that means so it's just comparing with the x is in the list or not, and then if yes, then it's displaying.
Oh
That's
no,
what the
it's not
condition.
comparing. This is variable in which it is going to store the first element, then second element, then third element, then fourth element, then fifth element, and we are printing those variables.
So it's passing value from list to x.
Yeah, every element it will pass.
Okay.
And this kind of loop is being used when you have data structures.
Yeah, I remember a little data structure, those queues, list, and
Yeah.
sorting. But
Now these have so many elements, right? Now it's our responsibility to visit each and every element. We don't have another condition for that one.
okay.
So in such kind of scenarios we'll be using this. Now this list is nothing but a data structure.
Yeah.
It is going to store the information in the form of list here. Okay, this is one kind of thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And see, here we are going to print the values 10, 50, 30, 10, 90 as the order which of insertion only. Okay, this array list maintains insertion order. Okay, as we can add two tens into this one, and we are getting two tens here. What is that meaning is it allows duplicates also. Array list maintains insertion order and it allows duplicates. Okay,
Okay.
and then for example I want to sort the values in this array list. So just simple collections dot collections is a class dot sort of list, collections dot sort of list, and see the output here 10, 10, 30, 50, 90. It has sorted itself automatically. Got it?
Yeah. So in the first, before when we pass the values of x to x, just
Yeah,
enough to display all everything like one by one.
yeah.
Just the one statement, like okay.
So that is enough to display all the elements.
And now the sort. So it's like a predefined function sort. So it's
Yeah,
just easy using it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When we're doing data structures, we can see. So we were literally writing like do
Yeah,
this, do that, like the whole
yeah, 11 to
process.
12 lines of code we used to write for quick sort or bubble sort, like, and then
Yeah.
we use it to take pivot element. A lot of things have to be done, but now we just have a method here. We'll just use this one. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to print a certain element, like you don't want to print all the elements in the list, you want to print only certain element. So system.out.println uh, list dot get of some two. Okay, the position you have to pass, and then it is going to print 30. So third element, it starts from 0. The index starts from 0. 10 printed.
1.
What?
Yeah, so they get same indexes like an array, like
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
from 0.
yeah. Status starts
Okay.
from 0 here. So like this also we can perform. Now all these things are very normal, but the abnormal thing what we'll be having here is like not abnormal at all. So when we have a collection which has user defined type of data. Now this is integer is a predefined data type, right? Like
Mhm.
predefined class that is present in Java. But if I have
Okay.
a user type like student class some student, like my student has int roll number string name and double marks. Okay, if this is the scenario, so you remember this, right? Bean class. So is this the bean class what we seen yesterday? Roll number, name and marks. We have the constructor to assign those marks, and we have getter and setter methods for each and every field, and then we have toString method when we print the object so that we can display the data when we print the object.
So that's encapsulation, right? When you use a getter and setter.
Yes, yeah, it's encapsulation. So now tell me, how do we declare an array list which contains a student?
It contains student list.
Yeah,
So array,
array list.
it contains student, right?
Yeah,
So it's student is the integer or string.
student. The type is only student.
Oh, type itself is student, really?
Yeah, yeah. Now,
So it should be the data type, right?
no, no, no. It's not data type. So that is why I told you about wrapper classes. We are not going to specify data type, but we are going to store objects.
Okay.
We need to specify the type of the object. Object's type is nothing but its class.
Okay.
So list equal to new array list of student. Okay, we have the students list. So now we need to create object of the student and then add the object into the array list, right?
Yeah.
So student is equal to new student, roll number will be some 100, name will be some Sujit, and marks will be some 546 100, like this. Now how to add this one into the list? List dot add of, yes, right?
Hmm.
Simple. Okay, like that you can add n number of students here.
Yes.
So as see, if you observe this one, it's nothing like we created a variable called s and we stored the object of student inside that one and passed that one as here. Can I write this
Yeah.
one directly inside new
Yeah.
student? Yeah, because I am not having any use of this s variable again and again. It's only one time declaration.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we are going to add the things directly. So like this, I'll add some 3 students
And where did you define the S like student?
here. This is the class.
Oh, you define here. Okay, you're in taking from here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the constructor is this one, right? So we are getting that new
Oh,
student.
okay. Okay.
So some 85, 86, 114. We're taking this many values so that we can sort and show them.
Okay.
Okay, Okay, we have these 4 students here.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to print them. See, system.out.println list. Okay, control F11. Check this out. Student, roll number equal to 100, name equal to 6, marks equal to 546. Again another student, roll number equal to 85, name equal to Ramu, marks equal to 446. Student, like that.
Yes.
Okay, this format is given in the toString here, in the student. I have generated a toString automatically, so it has given me like this.
Mm-hmm.
Student, some brace here, roll number equal to roll number, name equal to name, marks equal to marks. Okay, so I'm just going to modify this a little bit. Instead of comma, I'll keep new line. Instead of comma, I'll keep new line here. New line. And I'll remove this student. New line, new line, new line, new line. Okay, so I just modified the toString method so that the format looks a little bit good.
Yeah, yeah.
Check this one. If I print this one now, see, roll number equal to 100, name equal to 6, marks. Roll number, name, marks. Roll number, name, marks. Roll number, name, marks. In the new lines, we got the values. Okay, but still, see this angular. I mean, we'll get this square brace, and inside that the whole data will be displayed. After one object, another object, one object, another object, it will be printed. So if you want a clean format to be printed, again, like before, we have to use for each loop. For each. See, if you're if you have little problems with the syntax, you can use for here like this. Can you see the drop down for each iterative
Yeah.
over an array or iterable?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just select this one. It will automatically get what you need.
Okay. For each of them, you're displaying something. Okay.
Yeah. System.out.println name of the student. So like name plus see student is the object right here in which my data will be stored. The first student's data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now how to get the value from that one? Student dot get name. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then system.out.println roll number is student dot get roll number. Again system.out.println marks plus student dot get marks. So system.out.println list of students.
And here we are not using any list, right? So we are using student instead of list.
So here we have this list, right? From the list only we are getting the values
Yeah, but when you're displaying from a student.
from the student only. See
So
from
this
the
is the other way of displaying contents of list.
yeah. So we have seen this one before also in the integer x colon list.
Yeah.
There only one value, right? So that we just written system.out.println x.
Okay.
But in student we have 3 fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we have to display like this.
Okay. Okay.
Actually we did the same thing. Instead of new student we had 10, 20, 30, 40 before, and instead of these three kinds of sorry println statements, we had only one println statement with the variable which has been printed here.
Okay.
The key thing you need to remember is here it should be a class. In array list the type what we are going to specify is a class. It might be predefined classes or user defined classes. If it is predefined classes means we can directly add the 10, 20, 30 like that. If it's an user defined class like student, so we definitely have to add it creating the object for that.
Okay.
And then whatever type is there in that particular list, that type of variable has to be given inside the for loop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then colon list from where we are going to get the data, and we get this
Yeah.
beautiful display of the data. Now if I want to sort the data, we have sorted the data on the using 10 and everything, right? but that will be
Yeah.
not applicable in student here because it has multiple fields. In integer we have only one field.
Yes.
Here multiple fields are there, so we need a sorter class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in compare in collections we have a class. We have an interface called comparator.
Okay.
Okay, we have to use that comparator, and then we need to write code inside that so that we can sort these values. Okay, just check this one out. I'm going to create a new class here. Okay, so what do you want me to sort? Roll number or marks?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Hmm?
Let's do marks.
Marks. Marks sorter.
So marks is a float point, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Double. Okay.
So we need to write the class in the same thing, same package. Marks sorter. So it's an interface, right? Implements comparator. Implements comparator. Comparator is a interface here. So now this comparator class will have again type of data which we are going to sort.
Okay.
What type of data we are having in our project here? Student, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep the student here.
Okay.
So and then it will ask me to add the unimplemented methods. We have one unimplemented method inside called compare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if this compare method is going to take how many variables? Two student variables here.
Yeah.
I mean two student objects. I just replace this variable name with s1 and s2 so that it will be meaningful. Okay. Now see,
Yeah.
we are having written 0 right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just remove this one and if of s1 dot get marks. See, we are getting the marks of student s1. If that is greater than s2 dot, so student s2's marks.
Okay.
Okay, return 1, else return -1. That's it, simple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are taking two student objects. See, not just two student objects. Whenever we call this sort method, it is going to take each and every two students into this one and compare them and then replace the positions of those collections.
Yeah.
Okay, that will be internal implementation completely. We just need to specify on which field we are going to operate. So which basis of which field we want to sort the data. That's it. That is the only thing we need to specify here.
Okay.
Okay. Now in the test.java, so before how did we sort the students? Sort the integers, collections dot sort of list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, here see collections dot sort of. See, we have two methods called sort here, overloaded methods. Okay, we take the second one here which has a comparator class also, comparator yeah, object also. Okay,
Okay.
so we are going to get the values from the list only. Yes, list, and then we need to pass the object of mark sorter here.
Okay.
Okay, mark sorter ms equal to new mark sorter, and we need to pass that mark sorter object here ms. Say, okay, so see the before output. I did not run the program after adding the code. Before we got the marks 546, 446, 589, 440. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now check this out. 440, 446, 546, 589 we got from ascending order.
Okay.
If you want to get the data from the descending order, so just replace -1 with 1.
Okay.
See, 589, 546, 446, 440. You got that?
Yeah.
Now,
So
if you want to sort the roll number, what should we do?
Just replace with roll number. Marks with roll number.
Marks with roll number. You can take another class here, or else you can replace in the same class. Instead of marks, get roll number. Here also get roll. That's it. Now see the data. Based on the roll number, it is going to sort 114, 100, 85, and 40.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is how the
Yeah.
uh, array list is being used here.
So just to handle the data, like
Yeah,
to arrange, to order, to do that stuff.
yeah, to do only to do that stuff. Okay,
Okay.
we
And
will
what
be
else?
using the, yeah. Tell me.
And where else? Where else do we use this
Yeah,
in
only
Android?
in Android means, see, for example, you want to get the data from the student. See, for example, you have your Facebook application.
Yes.
Okay, you want to register your data from the Facebook. So you consider that your Facebook application is being written only for your phone and it is limited to you only. A similar
Okay.
kind of application. So you open your application and you have your registration screen and you enter the data into this and then click on register. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now this data has to be stored inside the database.
Okay.
Okay, again, if I want to pass all these values into the database, again, if I am having 10 fields, those 10 fields have to be passed in a method to the database, right?
Yeah.
Instead of that one, if I create a like student class, if I create a user class and with all the fields inside that, I can just pass this object into that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one scenario. We'll be using this one. And when retrieving the data, what will happen? Will we get only one end user or all the users?
Retrieving, if you want all the users, we'll retrieve all the users
Yeah.
basically.
So if I'm getting all the users means how will I get the all the users at the same time? Using array list.
Okay.
Using the
Mm-hmm.
array list, I'll get the data and I'll display the data inside the list view like kind of thing because we are having multiple data.
And you use sort to sort out the order, whatever
Yeah,
you
to
want.
sort out the order, we use collections.sort with this comparator.
Okay.
The same thing applies to the web service or any kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is what our collections class here is, and Lingareddy garu, is it okay for you to take the class every day at this time?
Yeah, that's good for me.
Then we'll continue the classes at this time only from tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Because at the evening time in the office I'm having some work and some distraction is being happening every day.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll continue the class on at this time only.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is you just practice about this list today a lot. I mean
Okay.
array list a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll specify an URL to you in the mail here. So, and I have mailed you the document currently just now. Actually, yesterday I thought I thought I have mailed, but I did not mail you this one.
Yeah, the
All the
assignment,
core Java
right? Yeah.
assignment. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Just do this practice on this. See, these are things you have to do with strings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then these are things we need to do in exception handling.
Okay.
Multi-threading will complete tomorrow. Multi-threading and hash map will complete tomorrow.
Okay.
And using array list you do these things. So we have much more things we can do in the array list. We can swap the data, we can shuffle the elements in array list. See, one every time you print the values, it will shuffle the values and print,
Okay.
and then reverse the data inside that sort the array sorting. We have this, we can create another list from this array list. We can create an array from an array list, delete all the elements from the array list. So if we say clear, if you want to delete one element, okay, we
Okay.
use delete method.
Mm-hmm.
So like list dot not delete, list dot remove. We'll use the list dot remove object. Remove, and the index is some like I want to remove the second one. Okay,
Yeah.
1. Okay, and now if I print,
Okay.
the one with 85 will go away.
Okay.
Okay, if I use the clear,
Clear and the
all the elements will
index
be
name.
removed.
Okay. This is to clear everything. Okay.
Clear everything from the data section.
Mm-hmm.
So like that we have these collections, and don't worry about reset, hash set, vector, all these things. I just created this document for all purpose. So you just go with exception handling, multi-threading, and multi-threading tomorrow we'll discuss, and on that one we'll do some programming also, because multi-threading plays a key role in Android,
Okay.
because the UI what you see will be running in one thread, and the background processing has to be run in another thread, because our Android can only handle till 10 seconds. 10 seconds delay only it can handle in the UI. If more than 10 seconds
Mm-hmm.
it is waiting for a process means it will give me application not responding error.
Okay.
So for that threading is very much important. Every application without the threading will not be there, because sample applications can be there, but the data which we are
Mm-hmm.
going to connect to internet and get the data, and we are going to search in the our phone itself, we are going to search for a file or search for a file in the internet and get the data from that file. All these things are going to take some time.
Okay.
So definitely multi-threading is needed for that.
Okay.
So we'll see one real-time scenario with the multi-threading tomorrow, and hash map also we'll see after we practice the array list.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, I'll upload the video on the YouTube also, this one also, and mail you within some 10 minutes like that.
Yeah, and we used both list and did we use the hash map? We didn't use hash map, right?
Oh no,
That's for
we
tomorrow.
did not use.
That's for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's for tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow hash map and
Multi-threading,
multi-thread. Okay,
and by
okay.
that we'll be completing our core Java.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, and do you guys do train the web developing thing as well?
Oh yeah,
Web service?
web services, huh?
No, web development like HTML, CSS, jQuery,
Yeah,
front
yeah,
end stuff,
yeah, we do.
and the PHP backend.
PHP also will do, but .NET currently we are not having any trainers.
Okay, actually ఏంటంటే like we are developing a website
Mm-hmm.
and then we gave somebody to develop the front end, the HTML, CSS and little PHP.
Okay.
And so ఇప్పుడు మేము ఏమనుకుంటున్నాం అంటే we were looking like what is the best programming, like we need lightweight and friendly and most responsive, more features అన్నమాట ఇవి మూడు we have to consider కదా ఏ వెబ్సైట్ కైనా.
No, no, no.
So దానికి which programming would be more better?
You go for PHP.
So the data deal చేయడానికి PHP better అంటారా?
The PHP with responsive design HTML5 అటాచ్ చేసుకొని చేసుకుంటే it will be very good. Bootstrap వాడారంటే ఇంకా సూపర్ ఉంటుంది అందులో.
So bootstrap is దేనికి అది బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ డేటా డీల్ చేయడానికా, it's like
It's like
PHP or
it's like a PHP itself, and front end is also being done in that.